Oh, snap. We are live right now, and I'm in Prescott, Arizona. Ryan is in Colorado. Christine, where are you at?
I am in Dallas, Texas. Yeehaw. Woo.
Snappers. Well, guys, we
Yes.
have a pretty big show for you, but you're going to have to wait for it because we have to start it, and it goes a little bit like this.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the ring where words pack as much punch as fists. This is Gloves Off with your hosts, the one and only founder and CEO of the Prez Kit Times, San Martin Rodriguez, and joining him, the award-winning sports writer and analyst Ryan O'Hara, ready to dive deep into the heart of combat sports. Together, they're here to break down barriers, bring you the latest insights, and go beyond the surface of boxing, MMA, and all things combat sports. Gloves Off will be airing on all streaming platforms, making sure you're always in the know and part of the action. So put your earbuds in and get ready to have your mind blown. The battle of wits begins now.
Step into the ring and the king on the chin. Boom, punch so fast, you won't stand a chance. Up and train, up and bright, I'm ready to brawl. Knock you out in the first round, watch you fall. Yeah, it's like now, yeah, we about to throw down. In the arena with the talk of the town.
And
Woo!
good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ryan O'Hara alongside San Martin Rodriguez and Christine Lopez, and this is the third episode of the Gloves Off Combat Sports Podcast. Welcome, everyone. It's Devin Haney versus Ryan Garcia week, and we also have a quick recap of what happened over the weekend with UFC 300. Let's go right to Christine. Welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Thank y'all. I'm doing very well. It's a pleasure to be here with you guys.
Thank you so much for coming on. And San Martin, we've been talking about Haney-Garcia for a couple of weeks now, and we're a week away. So what are your thoughts?
Let's really honestly say we were thinking it was going to happen. Is it really going to happen? Is it going to go down? I seen a couple of posts that have really thought that he might still cancel. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'm looking at it like, holy crap, is this really going to go down or not? So what do you guys think? Is it going to go down?
Yes, I would hope so. You never know, but
I was going to say that. I think there's too much money at stake, and I think that everything, all the shenanigans, have been to push this fight.
Ooh, I like that. A little drama. He's been watching a lot of those Mexican soap operas, and he's like,
Eso.
so we'll make everybody want to watch and see what happens.
Well, he also went down on the ticket prices. Is that correct? He went down on the ticket prices because he said he wanted the average, American to be able to afford the nosebleed seat. So I think they're moving in the right direction.
I think
it's
he wanted a million pay-per-view sales. That's what his prediction is.
I don't think it's going to be a million. The Tank fight did 1 million. Devin Haney is one of the best fighters in the world, but I don't think he has that same star power as a Gervonta Davis. I think this is a better fight on paper, but sometimes a better fight on paper doesn't necessarily translate to pay-per-view sales. That's just the way it is.
I agree with you as far as the numbers. And honestly, if we just think about it, I mean, the only one that has been pushing this fight is Ryan. I mean, Devin will say something every now and then, but all the stuff that we've seen, the circus is coming from Ryan. So I think it would have needed to be both of them kind of acting a little radical for the sales to come up a little bit.
When we think about those sales in general, you would think that it would stay in line with the sport itself, but it seems like his drama is a little bit off kelter, like literally off kelter. They're saying that his mental capacity is not in this fight. What do you guys think about that?
Ryan, you want to go? And I'll go. Okay. I was going to say, I believe that his mental capacity is there. I went to his media workout here in Dallas. He was talking very sanely. I think that he does a lot of things for social media. I mean, let's just face it, like most of his money comes from being a social media icon. And I actually was there for Boxing and Barbecue, and I asked him about that, if he thought that the reason why he was getting paid, I believe it's 5% more on the purse than Devin, was because of his presence on social media. And he said, no, I think I should be making more, like, 60-40. But but I think that he is. I think that he's talking to someone, or he's using any tactic to make this a very high rating, selling pay-per-view, in my opinion.
Ryan?
Yeah, I think his mental capacity is there. I wasn't so sure at the beginning, especially when he was talking about children and other weird things that I won't bring up. But this is a very intriguing fight. It's a matchup of two different styles. I think Devin Haney is the better, more pure boxer in this matchup. But at the same time, as we mentioned off air, you can jab with a jabber, but you can't hook with a hooker. And Garcia has the reach, he has the height and the power to knock Haney out. The question is, can he catch Haney? That's the big question.
It's very true. And Haney Senior even calls, that hook good night on ring. He knows what they have to deal with. So I am assuming that they are training to stay away from it. I don't know how long they can stay away from it. I don't know what his conditioning looks like, but they know to stay away from it. That's for sure.
Well, there's a lot of once again, speculations in general. All the boxing community, this man right here came in and says, I don't know, man, the mental capacity is just not hitting it. And this was their first interaction, if I'm not mistaken, right, Ryan?
You're talking about Haney and Garcia?
Yeah, in 2019.
Their first interaction was actually as kids. They've known each other since they were kids. They were actually amateur rivals, so they've known each other for a long time. And, they've gone back and forth on Twitter. And then, of course, they had their infamous scuffle at Radio Row at the Super Bowl. So this has been building up for quite some time. So you have that animosity that's built up over the last last 4 or 5 years. And Haney even said, we were, respectful rivals, but now all that respect is out the window, and he's coming to knock him out. It's going to be a very intriguing fight. And I'm excited to see what happens on April 20th.
And they're both talking about that, knocking each other out and actually killing each other, and Ryan was asked about that, during the media workout. And he said, I'm getting all this criticism because I said I was going to kill him. Well, he said it first, and I think in the climate that we live in, sure, we have seen people in the ring die, and it's very sad. Unfortunately, it's part of the sport at times. It is life or death, but I think that sometimes we as consumers, or we as fans, we get a little, we're sensitive these days, it seems like. I mean, Mike Tyson's talking about eating people's children, and there's so many other, things that boxers used to say. And it's I think we're a little sensitive today.
I'd be like, when you're hungry, you just gotta eat. And if that's the first step involved, don't be it. That's funny. I'm hungry. I want to eat you. So, so this is happening April 20th. It's going down in is it New York City?
Yeah, it's at the Barclays. Well, technically Brooklyn. It's going to be at the Barclays Center where the Brooklyn Nets play, the NBA team.
Man, and what's the capacity at that stadium?
I honestly don't know off the top of my head, but it's not as big as Madison Square Garden, and the media capacity there is pretty small too. So
it is.
They kind of knew it seems like they kind of knew ahead of time. This is a big fight, but it's not a massive fight. So, I think they would have been better off in Las Vegas personally, but ultimately they decided to go with New York. And I know Ryan Garcia was not happy with the decision to go to New York. And he might be right, because the ticket sales have been a little bit rough. And that's partially why they've been lowering the prices. So it seems like that whole acting out thing of Garcia didn't necessarily help the ticket sales or hurt it really. But
no, it didn't. And I mean, they could have gone to the Virgin. I think that would have been a better place to have it in Las Vegas. But yeah, I mean, everything is higher in New York. I'm assuming. Well, I know that the Barclays is. I've been there. It's big, but it's not as big, like you said, as Madison Square and other places. I think they kind of cut themselves, in the throat. Whenever they said, "Oh, let's have it in New York," it doesn't make sense to me. And a lot of people, they had bought their tickets. They had gotten their hotels to go to Vegas. And then, because, we jump the gun sometimes, and then they had to cancel, and they're like, I can't go to New York. It may not happen, and I think that has a lot to do with it, too.
Absolutely. And another thing that's ironic, you know, Oscar De La Hoya recently moved to Las Vegas. So he no longer lives in LA. He moved to Vegas because, well, obviously the taxes in LA are ridiculous.
Mhm.
And he could literally walk to the MGM Grand or the T-Mobile Arena or even the Thomas and Mack Center. And now, you know, a fight that's not as big as people expected. They're at the Barclays Center. And on top of that, the fighter is going to be paying a lot more in tax just for fighting in New York. So it's kind of a rough deal.
And the commission is a lot more strict, you know, in New York as well. So, you know, they got to be on their P's and Q's, that's for sure.
I wonder if it was like a little strategy move just to kind of, you know how it is when you like take the person out of their stomping ground. You don't know the area, you don't feel good because you haven't been there forever, and you just step into something that you've never been a part of. Has he ever fought in this arena, Ryan
I
Garcia?
don't believe so. I think when in terms of what you're saying about, you know, a different strategy, I think they did it in good faith. It's kind of like when Gennady Golovkin was fighting on HBO and he was selling out arenas in Los Angeles at the Forum and the War Grounds. And then they were like, okay, it's time to make a move. Let's put on a fight. Let's put on Golovkin versus David Lemieux in New York at the Madison Square Garden. And he sold that out. So that was his first test. And I think this was a test for both Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia. Do they have the star power?
Mhm.
And it looks like they're kind of hitting a hurdle. But then again, still 5 days until the fight. So there's still time to make this up and potentially sell more tickets.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm not against, you know, people being who they are. They have to be who they are. Maybe, you know, obviously Haney doesn't have the same personality. He's got his own personality. But, you know, we know in this day and age that the boxers really have to sell themselves. You know, promoters back in the day, they were the ones putting up all the money for the billboards, the posters, the commercials, everything, just really putting everything out. And today it's not that way. You know, everything's social media, and I think that they as boxers really have to sell themselves.
Hmm.
Do you
Yeah,
do
this
you
is
think that you know, obviously like promoter, I mean, it's kind of rough in a way because you look, the promoters aren't promoting as much as they did. Do you
Right.
think it's because boxing has kind of lost popularity, or do you think that it's because social media is such a useful tool?
I think I don't think it has anything to do with the popularity, because I think that if they did push the way they did back in the day, it would be more popular and more people would have eyes on boxing. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. But I really believe that the day and social media, you know, and let's be honest. I mean, if a boxer's selling themselves and the promoter doesn't have to put so much money in that part of what they're doing, and maybe they could put it somewhere else, and the purses are bigger. I think it's just a lot of factors, to be honest.
And you could also factor in the fact that, and Martine, you can jump in here if you'd like. American boxing is struggling right now. There's no doubt about that. That's why a majority of these big fights are in Saudi Arabia. Naoya Inoue, a lot of people criticize him for fighting in Japan, but Inoue doesn't need the United States. The US needs Japan. That's the difference.
Absolutely.
And so the more these people criticize Inoue, I think the more he's going to fight in Japan. Like, if you're not appreciating my skill set, if you're not appreciating the fact that, you know, of what I bring to the table, I'm going to stick in Japan because I make more money here and my people
He's
are here.
comfortable. Absolutely. I don't blame him. He can say he's calling the shots. He can do whatever he wants.
No, the sport needs a little bit of a push, but once again, you know, UFC has definitely put the well-rounded, like let's use every freaking MMA scenario out there, and it really brings a lot more people to the table because they get to see a scrap. And it started very brutal, so people are like, "Oh my gosh!" And it was like back in the days in Rome when they were like, put the guy in there with the lions. And so all of a sudden, it's like that's what people want. And it's kind of morbid, but at the same time, it definitely took off to the point where it was like, that's what people want to see.
We love morbid. We as human beings love morbid. We go to see these scary movies. We want to read about, you know, how somebody was gruesomely, you know, torn apart. We love morbid. And it's just, it is what it is.
Well, speaking of the morbid, let's go ahead and move into UFC 300. Now, this was pretty insane. A lot of the highlights that are coming up, I'm going to play a couple. So maybe we should do a little shout out to UFC for supplying this off of Facebook. So we're going to go ahead and use a Facebook reel right now to go ahead and show one of the meanest like exchanges of hands that I've ever seen in a while. So once again, UFC. And discretion advised out there, guys. This is going to be one of those moments where you're going to want to watch this like over and over. He said, stand right here. And boom, boom, and bye. Oh, my gosh. Now, Holloway is like he stands up, and that's one of the best things I've ever seen in a long time. I mean, did you guys happen to see the highlights?
I did. And it's interesting because Max Holloway has been criticized for years, and his nickname was Pillow Hands or Pillow Fists. And then and now lately he's delivered essentially back-to-back knockouts. So he's been answering the critics, and I think Justin Gaethje might have been one of those guys. So it's kind of like when Golovkin kind of told Canelo he wanted Mexican style, and Canelo wanted Mexican style. Gaethje said, "Hey, I want you to fight me like a man," and Holloway's like, "Fine. I'll fight you like a man, and I'll knock you out like one too."
Yeah.
No,
I was just gonna say I embarrassed to say, but I don't really watch UFC much. I do a little bit. My brother's huge and gets all the pay-per-views, but I did see the highlights and I thought it was gruesome. I thought it was a fabulous overhand. And I know that it was going on at the same time I was watching Jared Anderson, the heavyweight. So that's why I didn't see it. I probably should have switched over. But I was just going to say, Devin's been called Pillow Hands too. And let's see.
Well, and while we're on that topic, I'm honestly not the biggest UFC fan either. I'm definitely a pure boxing fan.
Same,
but
yeah.
My nickname for the Jared Anderson Riyad Murhi fight was Jared Anderson versus really bad Murhi, because Murhi did not show up to fight. My question for you, Christine, if a guy literally does not show up to fight and stinks up the show, do you think that these commissions should make it mandatory that they fine the fighter maybe at least 50% of his purse? I mean, if it's deemed that you did not even try, should it be mandatory that they lose half of their money?
I'm not sure, because I don't know how you would gauge that. I don't know like how you can say like you have to throw 100 punches the first 6. I don't know how you would gauge that. I think that would be the only problem. But I just wonder, what was the memo before the fight? Is it, or did he tell someone, I'm just here for a paycheck? But I think in that case, it is up to the other person, the opponent, the person across the ring, to just, you know what? You don't want to fight me? I'm gonna knock you out. Like I put the pressure on him. You either make him fight or you put him out. That's what I think.
Yeah, there has to be a little bit of some sort of stipulation in that contract that says, you better step up and make it happen. I mean, because that's just a lot of time wasted. And also, your fans are the ones that are going to be more disappointed than anything. And without those guys, you ain't nothing. Like literally, you ain't.
Sure.
And Anderson had a lot of pressure on him too, especially, he's had a couple of legal cases. Most recently, he led police on a high-speed chase and crashed his car. So there were a lot of distractions going to this fight. So that might explain a few things. But if you're Murhi and you have a guy across the ring who's going through all these issues, that should have been motivation. Like, hey, this guy might be off his game, but he didn't even show up.
And do you want to fight again? Do you want them to say, you know what? Even if you lost, you put on such a great show. Like, we're gonna call you back. We have somebody else for you. Unless he just didn't care. I mean, I've seen his past fights. I mean, one of my boxers back in the day, after he left us, we parted ways. He went and fought Murray. He was looking for, some money and trying to get back in. Big mistake. He got knocked out. I've seen him perform better. He kind of reminded me of Mike Tyson in a way. But I didn't know what was going on. I said, but on both sides, I think Jared maybe had some things on his mind as well. And maybe he hadn't been in the gym or been able to train like he has in the past. He also has a new trainer. I know he's with K. Corona. Now he's with Prentice, Tiger Johnson's coach. So I don't know. if there was something, there was a disconnect for sure. But I really feel like it was his responsibility to push the envelope for sure.
So I'm showing a reel right now with Bobby Green and Jim Miller, and I don't know, but from this distance, from when I'm looking at it, it looks like he has a big red nose on himself. But when you talk about gruesome and brutal, like this guy looked like he got knocked out right there, and there was no stoppage. And the referee, I feel like they are told not to jump in and do whatever it is that they're supposed to be doing, like refereeing the fight. Because I mean, let's just face it, like there's some brutal hits that probably should go ahead and stop it before that, a lot of brain damage could possibly be in effect. But UFC is a whole nother beast. Like it's out of control, to be honest, in some cases.
I think it depends on the referee. You have a referee.
I was going to say that.
Yeah, and you like Ron Lipton. If you get knocked down 4 times, Ron Lipton will give you a chance to prove that you still got it. But as soon as you get knocked down like a 5th time, then he steps in. Steve Smoger was another guy the late Steve Smoger.
Yeah.
Tony Weeks until very recently.
I was just going to say
good, and now he's Tony very weak.
Yeah. He wanted his time. He wanted his time. He wanted to be seen. So and you need referees that if they're not worrying about being seen on TV or not being seen, they're supposed to be just shadows, just to make sure that everything is well. And then you get some that jump in too soon. Like as soon as they clinch or as soon as something happens where they're fighting in the pocket, they jump in. So there's extremes,
There is. So we had a celebrity fight, it seems like, because she was the one that actually beat Rusi. Ronda Rousey, is that
Rousey, yeah.
Ronda Rousey. And let me go ahead and show you guys this. And she ended up, coming into this this fight, and I mean, this is the starting of it right here. But she got choked out, and Kayla Harrison basically just showed her who's boss in that ring, and it was just a little clip about it. Let me go ahead and rewind it again.
I do know Kayla Harrison. I have seen her, and I do know her name. Yes,
that girl.
She was an Olympian as well, right? She was 2-time gold medalist or something, I believe.
She laid the smack down, and as you can see, Holly Holm, man, she's like, I don't want to be here.
And I love Holly, but yeah, that was not a good fight for her to take.
She's like, I do not want to be here. But yeah, when people like that step in the ring, you expect some pretty big things. I mean, even when Ronda was in there, she was basically doing her thing. Didn't she actually step out because of potential brain damage?
No, I mean, she didn't step out because of brain damage, but
she got her ass beat.
She get knocked out
by
Holly.
Can I pass? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, as we look back on her career, and I hate to say this, but to me it was almost I don't want to say a sham. What's a nice thing to say? She was not who she presented herself to be. Holly Holm, all due respect to her, she was older, as she was here that we just saw. She's done boxing, kickboxing, and now this. For her to do to her what she did, I just began to question Ronda's,
I'm sure I've been trying to find the knockout from Alex Pereira against Tom Espinal, and I can't seem to find it. But he gets up and he does the old move like, this is what I do. This is what you're going to get if you step in the ring with me. But I tell you what, the UFC 300 was a huge hit from what I have heard. I wasn't able to see it because I was in the PBR and here in Prescott Valley watching. It's still as brutal watching this PBR with those guys with those big bulls. But I tell you what, man, there's a lot of excitement in this world.
That's for sure. Yeah, everybody gets their thirst quenched when it comes to combat sports, for sure.
Well, Martine, let's do a quick little sponsor plug right here. Recover 180 Hydration, amazing drink. They sent me this the other day. I got the watermelon right here. Ryan Garcia is actually an investor in the company. You can check out the drinks at recover180.com. And with that said, we can move right into predictions for the Devin Haney-Ryan Garcia fight. But very quickly, just because Ryan Garcia is an investor in this company does not mean I'm going to win the fight. I'm sorry.
He wasn't trying to bribe you. He wasn't
That's
trying to
not
bribe
how I
you.
roll.
So
You're not gonna be in on that one, Ryan. Come on, it's the same name too, Ryan. You better go with Ryan.
I'm loyal, but I'm not that loyal.
right.
All right,
Christine, who do you have, and how do you see it going down?
You know, I like Ryan. I really do like Ryan, and I like Devin. I do. I think that they both, at times, even though it's probably self-inflicted, especially Ryan, they get a bad rap sometimes. As you stated before, you know, Ryan has power, and that hook is good night, Irene. But Haney has really shown that he is a boxer. He has power, and he's got his head on straight. I've said this before, that it's a lifestyle. You know, whatever you're doing outside is going to reflect in the ring. You know, and Ryan is constantly on Twitter. I think he just like had some porn on there like yesterday. And he's in love with a different woman every week if you follow his Instagram or Twitter. And I think he's gonna get married now to somebody. But it just doesn't seem as though he's living the lifestyle outside of the gym. But maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong because I want to see a good scrap. I want to see them get down and show us the best of each of them. But if I have to choose right now today, I'm gonna have to say Haney. You know, I really think that he's gonna take it. And then also, you know, I'm a big Crawford fan, and he called him out. I think he called him a bitch. So I'm like, you know what? You drew the line with that one. You drew the line.
Those are some fighting words right there.
Man.
Hey, Ryan, give us your prediction as well, man.
I have Haney by stoppage. Yeah, I think that Haney's more focused, and you know, boxing is a very unforgiving sport. If you're not focused, the sport's going to call you out, and when you get stopped, no one's really going to feel bad for you. You know, I think Garcia has, like I said before, he has the height, he has the reach, and he has the power to stop Devin, but it's the preparation. Has he been doing all of the work in the gym? He looks good. I mean, his hand speed's always there. His left hook looks really sharp. But I question whether he's going to try to maybe try too hard to knock Devin out, because maybe he knows that this is the only way I can actually win. And then the bigger question is, can Devin avoid that left hand? He did get caught with a left hook in the I think it was the 10th round of the fight with Jorge Linares. Could be wrong on the round. Devin was hurt, but he held on to win that fight. And you know, Devin struggled to hold on to Linares. Linares was kind of an older fighter. If that happens, will Devin be able to survive? That's a big what if.
For sure.
Well, that sounds like a great prediction. I brought my nephew on here right now.
I was wondering, it's like some random guys over here.
Hey, so I said, hey, you want to give your predictions? Give your prediction.
My prediction is he's going to get knocked out in the third round.
Who? Haney or Ryan?
Haney's going to get knocked out in the third round.
Oh,
man, fighting words over
There's
here.
a lot of follow up on Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney or whatever. You know, I've just been watching, you know, from afar. So
I wouldn't be mad at that.
A lot of training, you know, and a lot of stuff that you don't see because of other stipulations, you know, on the internet, because some of those privileges are not there no more. So I believe that there's probably going to be a knockout on the third round. I
mean, if Ryan does knock out Haney, I think it would be early. I think it would be one of those unbelievable quick.
So my prediction, after everything that I have been shown or seen and acknowledging, I think that Ryan does have a lot on his mind, and unfortunately, it's not in the game as the game is being played. And this is his job, this is his sport, and he's doing a lot of other things, other curricular activities compared to what he's supposed to be doing. In an early Ryan, I think that he would definitely be taking it, but as of right now, I think Haney might end up just, taking it. They might take it for the full, batch. So let's see what happens. I think that we'll get to find out, and then we'll come back and we'll, pat each other on the back and see what happens.
And that's honestly, that's the way boxing is. People are like, well, if Sergey Kovalev wasn't drinking alcohol all the time and smoking cigarettes, he would have beaten Andre Ward. Yeah, but guess what? He did.
He is.
And he lost twice. It's like, if Adrian Broner didn't hang out with strippers all the time and not train, he'd be an all-time great. Well, guess what? He did.
Same with Errol Spence. And Bud Crawford, same thing. The excuses are always going to be there.
But the only difference is Errol admitted it on Twitter. He was like, yeah, I wasn't living the lifestyle that I should have, and I got my ass kicked.
True.
Respect to Errol Spence.
Absolutely. No, really.
So there's a lot of opportunity for everybody to go ahead and get in on this, but at the same time, we won't know until April 20th. That's when it's going to go down.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Where are you guys going to be watching it at?
I'm going to be at home, I believe, or at my brother's house in the country. I don't know, but it doesn't matter. Wherever I'm at, I'm watching. That's got to happen.
Well, I'm pretty sure me and Ryan will probably be in the DM saying, "Did you see that? Did you see this?" I love just sharing stuff with Ryan. I was like, "Did you see this?" Wait. I'm going to step back just a tad bit. I probably should have talked about this right in the beginning. But did you guys see the press scenario in Ryan's is the way that he came out with the girls?
Oh, the horse. Yeah,
the horse. Oh, snap. Anyways, I thought it was a cool little turnout. And I don't know if you guys saw it, but it looked like Oscar De La Hoya was just chuckling. He was like, what is going on here?
I did. Like, he should have been in a Fabergé commercial, men's cologne, cheap cologne, riding in on the horse, like Fabio back in the day. It was funny.
Fabio, there we go. Fabio.
I wonder if Canelo rented his horse to Ryan Garcia. I guess we'll find out.
Possibly.
That is hilarious.
That must have been expensive. That must be, $500,000 to bring my horse into the arena.
Well, and he was dissing Yeezy really bad on X, and then he posted that he's going to walk him in for his ring walk. So, who knows? Crazier things have happened.
That's true.
Well, guys, it's going to go down April 20th. This is fight week. If you guys want to go ahead and check it out, it's going to be live on pay-per-view. For your guys' liking.
For those that decide to actually pay.
I'm going to pay.
You're going to pay? All right.
Yeah, I'm totally going to pay.
Just go ahead and live stream it to me.
Yeah.
He said it, not me.
Right. It'll be off so quick. Trust me, they'll get you.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm not. You can do it in my DMs.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right. Well, you guys got a lot of things to do. We got things to do over here. This is what it's called. It's the Gloves Off. This is the only sports combat thing that's here live on the Prescott Times and also streaming on Twitter on Ryan's handle. If you have that handle right now, Ryan, go ahead.
It's O'Hara Sports on X, aka Twitter. Still can't believe that we still have to say that, but
I know.
And Christine, if you have a handle that you want people to follow you on, why don't you go ahead and share that too?
I do. So everywhere on YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Twitter X, Facebook, and The Ring with Christine. So please check me out. I've got some good stuff going on too.
All right, guys. With that being said, we're out of here. Hope you guys will join us for the next one. And to everybody that's watching us right now, thank you for paying attention and actually sitting through this little nonsense. Thank you, nephew, for jumping in here and giving his predictions. And with that being said, I'm out of here.
What's his name?
Thank y'all.
What's his name?
Nephew.
Oh, no. His name's Nephew?
Miho. Nephew Miho.
Miho. What's up, Miho? Bye, Miho.
All right, guys. See you later.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the ring where words pack as much punch as fists. This is Gloves Off with your hosts, the one and only founder and CEO of the Prescott Times, San Martin Rodriguez, and joining him, the award-winning sports writer and analyst Ryan O'Hara, ready to dive deep into the heart of combat sports. Together, they're here to break down barriers, bring you the latest insights, and go beyond the surface of boxing, MMA, and all things combat sports. Gloves Off will be airing on all streaming platforms, making sure you're always in the know and part of the action. So put your earbuds in and get ready